Is dating today, in your opinion, harder than it's ever been?
One red flag and you're kind of like, oh, I could go find somewhere else. You don't need to have one person when you could have like 5.
Honestly, I don't know. I've had really bad luck. So everything.
People see a lot, they exposed to a lot. They're always looking for better.
Everyone is always looking for the best thing, and they always think something else is around the corner, and you almost have too much access to too many people.
I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is PsycHacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is, why buy the cow? All right, why buy the cow is the first half of a somewhat snarky observation about dating that I'm sure you all know, namely, why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free? This comment alludes to men's observed hesitancy to provide additional commitment or resources to a woman who is already providing him with sex. Since, in general, no one will pay more for the same good when it can be acquired for less, men's hesitancy is less about emotional immaturity and more about rationality. And to be fair, there used to be a fair degree of truth in this observation, the operative words being used to be. In point of fact, this statement no longer applies to the current sexual marketplace, and attempting to implement its implied advice, i.e., to make men pay for milk, is unlikely to achieve the desired outcome. But here's the thing. We no longer operate in a marketplace in which milk is generally sold. Just look around you. For better or worse, we operate in a marketplace in which milk is freely distributed.
So very interesting. As a university student, I really had a very optimistic view of dating and courtship, being in the church, loving God, loving Christ, wanting to build up a young lady and build a future. But I soon realized that the divorce rate in the so-called church is about 50%, the same as the world. And I started to notice in the church that many of the young ladies and men that I thought were great Christians were lacking in a big way regarding their behavior and relationships. Extreme sexual immorality in so-called church dating relationships, dating multiple people. And obviously those people can grow out of that, but they seem to have lost a grip on that church is not just something you say, but you have to walk the walk as well. So look at these stats here. I want to warn young people. Obviously a person goes to church to try and find a wonderful person with the same ideology and belief system. But you can really make a big mistake with many churchgoers who are just as immoral as the world. Christian attitudes towards dating and marriage reveals a broad acceptance for premarital sex. Experts believe that many Christians are following cultural trends over scripture, probably what they watch on TV and on the internet as well. According to that study published by Christian Mingle and Date, 61% of Christians said they would have sex before marriage. They don't realize that sex before marriage is a hell-condemning sin. 34% responded, while it would be nice to marry someone of the same faith, it's not required. Can you imagine that?
In today's day and age, sex precedes commitment. And in a marketplace full of free samples, you can't reasonably expect to charge for a taste. Under such incentives, the question is not why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free. It is why buy the cow if you have to pay for the milk? Like, what is so special about your milk that you can possibly expect people to pay for it when vendors all around you are handing out free samples? You can argue about whether this is how things should be until you're blue in the face, but it's not going to change anything. This is the reality of the contemporary sexual marketplace, and it's probably not going to change anytime soon. What this means is that in the vast majority of cases, when women attempt to make men pay for milk, all they do is succeed in pricing themselves out of the marketplace. That was complicated, so I'll say it again. Such women price themselves out of the sexual marketplace unless they provide something of additional value to the man that offsets the relatively higher cost of their sexual opportunity and that their intrasexual competition either cannot or will not provide. And the only thing that really meets all of those criteria is purity. In today's sexual marketplace, women can realistically only put their sexual opportunities behind the paywall of commitment if they are virgins. This is because men highly value purity, in no small part because it's getting harder and harder to find. And this might offset the relatively higher cost of the sexual opportunity. However, the more women participate in the sexual marketplace, the less they will be able to provide this compensatory good.
This has become absolutely flabbergasting to me. I don't know what parents are thinking. There are 14-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 15-year-olds dating boyfriend after boyfriend. How many sexual partners are they going to have by the age of 30? It is absolutely ridiculous. Parents should be warning their daughters and sons that dating these multiple partners is actually a modern form of prostitution and is making them a dating prostitute. What are they going to say to a high quality man that comes across their path maybe at 24? Like, I've had 12, 15, 18, 25 boyfriends. Men innately want purity. They don't want women that have slept around and have had so many boyfriends. These boyfriends are making them into prostitutes, which I don't know how they're going to explain away to a top man one day.
That was complicated, so I'll say it again. Such women price themselves out of the sexual marketplace unless they provide something of additional value to the man that offsets the relatively higher cost of their sexual opportunity and that their intrasexual competition either cannot or will not provide. And the only thing that really meets all of those criteria is purity. In today's sexual marketplace, women can realistically only put their sexual opportunities behind the paywall of commitment if they are virgins. This is because men highly value purity, in no small part because it's getting harder and harder to find. And this might offset the relatively higher cost of the sexual opportunity. However, the more women participate in the sexual marketplace, the less they will be able to provide this compensatory good. So if the question is now, why buy the cow if you have to pay for the milk? How do women differentiate themselves in a sexual marketplace in which sex precedes commitment? Well, if everyone is handing out milk, you stay competitive by offering the richest, creamiest milk around. I've already said this in other ways in other episodes. Milk exists on a spectrum from tasteless skim to rich, heavy cream. More than anything else, this will motivate a man to take that cow off the market to ensure that he has exclusive access to that frothy, delicious leche. He will not want any other men in his dairy. However, if all a cow produces is tasteless skim, there is absolutely no need for a man to take that cow off the market because he knows that no other guy is going to do it. Just keeping it real. Does this fit with your own experience? Let me know in the comments below.
Please, parents, I beg parents, think through what is going to happen if your daughter starts dating multiple guys from 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. If she does not keep herself pure, an honorable, amazing young man will not want someone who has had 25 boyfriends. The obvious question arises, what about my girlfriends or myself if we've had many boyfriends and we've had sex with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever guys? Well, first of all, you can accept the truth and start preaching the right message to young girls. And you can turn from that path of promiscuity and you can become an honorable person and even more respected because you turned from a difficult path and a wrong path to a right one.